Oh, bluebird. Hi, hello, happy Sabbath and Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to see a little bluebird out here. We have been blessed again today, it's daytime, with some rain. And we've been getting some really good rain. Look at the grass growing up here. There was nothing here a while back, of course. It's growing despite the goats eating it because of the beautiful amount of rain. Now, whether this rain will carry on very long, I don't know. But for the moment, it's keeping the grass growing and the clover growing, and it's all filling out with clover and Bermuda grass, a little at a time. And I'm very grateful for that. I'll find out how much rain we've got when I get to the shop. We got 1 3/4 inches last time, and I didn't dump it out, so therefore I had to measure what's there and subtract 1 3/4 inches. My grapes on this one vine are just going to beat the band. I mean, they are really doing it this year on this one. No other one, just this one. This is my present #1 prize champion grapevine. What you doing, cat? Yeah, chestnut. And then cashew. Yeah, unfortunately, since her sister's gone, well, she's gonna last to that one. This one, poor thing, she's sick. I've got to take her Monday to the vet down in Mountain View, which is quite a distance away. She's a rough, tough, rugged critter, but I tell you what, she's got a hole in her leg. I say a hole in her leg, and hopefully it doesn't become a hole in her leg. I can't get her to necessarily stand and pose for that, but if you see that, oh, I can't. And besides, the other ones are going to crawl all over it. So that one's got a gimp leg because it's somehow locked in place. And then the one up there, Fluffy, has something wrong with her leg, that his skin and hair is coming all apart on her. So again, Monday I'm going to go down to the vet and see what I can do to address that before it does her some permanent damage. Now, on this is pretty much the most of what I did this week. And for me, as a crippled old hobbled up mess, this was quite a bit of work for me. And it's not done yet. But I got all but one final step at the bottom here to do on this stage. This is far from done. This is a long ways from done. I've got to do a lot more to this to make it work, because otherwise it'll just rot all to pieces. It's going to probably weigh between 600 and 700 pounds by the time it's done. And you notice I've got these little flanges on each side that'll bolt it to the concrete when I'm done, which is going to be a booger because I got to drill a hole through there, lift this up, drop the concrete anchors through that, and then mount them with shims to make certain that it all works properly. And at the top, if you look under there, I could try to zoom in, but I'll just try to walk up there and point at it. You see where the... Sorry, I'm old and feeble, and my hip went out on me real bad for a couple days here, and I'm barely walking right now. And this piece here will probably be replaced with a better piece, I don't know. But you see those two threaded pieces there, those will be for anchoring this down, but also, you notice how this piece is made out of a thin part right there. Well, I've got to go in there and I'm going to put some 4x4s on each side of this at that size, all the way to the edge here, so that it's got some strength to it, so it doesn't accidentally break somehow, especially since I've got a stove that I've got to put down here and I don't want it to collapse under me. So it's a few weeks away from being done. Plus, I plan on putting a large running rubber all-weather indoor-outdoor patio type mat, seal to it with either paraffin, beeswax, mastic, or something that makes it where it's fully contoured and fully waterproofed. We'll see that as it develops. Now, back to gardening. That's about all I really did this week, other than, well, a minimal amount of gardening. This thing here, although it produced a lot of flowers, seems to have not produced a lot of seeds. Unfortunately, it looks like it produced very few seeds, so I don't think I'm going to get much out of this. If I do, I'll be surprised. Now these, as you can see, are getting devoured right and left, mostly by caterpillars and stuff. Every time I try to dust it, it rains, washes them all off. Well, that sucks because, well, if you wash the dust off of it, how do you keep the poison on there to kill the bugs unless you use a systemic poison, which then makes it inedible to people? So, still running into a problem that I don't know what to do about, except to just, I don't know, probably have to bite the bullet and just raise them for seed, because there's almost nothing left of them, realistically. I mean, if you look at the heads of them, they're just chewed to shreds. They're really just very destroyed. I'd be very blessed if I even get a few flowers to make seed pods out of them. Now the cucumbers, that cucumber over there, and a couple of other ones, if you dig through the mint, are coming up kinda, but not super well, not like the last batch. And these are seeds from the last batch, so whatever the deal is, they're not doing great, unfortunately. Over there, just my workspace where I've been working on all my proper fitment of everything. You see, I've got all my tools all jumbled up in a pile. I spent a fortune on a bunch of new screws so I can finish this and do other jobs as well. Money, money, money. Thing I don't have any of. Or very much of. Use my mom's Lowe's card to get that plus a discount. Double discount, technically. Now, over here, I think I pointed out here a couple weeks ago that I had put 4 different spudlets in the ground over here. And, well, wouldn't you know it, one of them has come up. It's getting eaten alive already. But, out of the 4 that are over here, 1 is up, and it may be the only one that comes up. I don't know. They all look pretty solid. But I'm not going to dig around and break off tops. So they'll either come through or they won't. But there should be 4 spudlets in here somewhere that should grow up good and big. And I'm going to put baskets on them like I did the other ones. Not to keep anything off of it, because that won't work. But just to help them stand up straight. So that will work. Helps them stand up straight. So, again, and that's going to be, in theory, my fall potato crop, or at least part of it, because I still got some of those spudlets in the greenhouse that haven't died yet. Hopefully I'll get them planted somewhere, although I'm not sure where. Over here, as we've had an abundance of rain, some of these plants are surviving. Where is it? Oh, it got its top bitten off. Oh man, but it's got a little fruit on it. Tiny little fruit. And then of course the watermelons are putting on some vines. So the little bitty tomato plants are putting on some fruit. And the watermelons are flowering, which means they'll probably not long from now try to put on fruit. Believe it or not, even though watermelons can survive in the desert, I've seen them survive in standing water too. Not that that's my goal, but that's kind of like the only reason they're not dead is because once they get established a certain point, they get tough. they become a very tough plant. That's why they do well in the desert. Now, these things, I had thought I was going to end up pulling them out. But it does seem that even the worst damaged ones are recovering. They seem to be getting on some acceptable regrowth. Now, whether that'll bring up their potato quality, I don't know. But they're still alive, so I'm not going to kill them. Usually I wait until they go completely dead on their own before I harvest them. Now over here, these crazy little things, other than the one that died early on, look, we got some nice little bell peppers. This is called Big Bertha, apparently. And they're finally, unlike the past where they were making flowers and then dropping, now they're starting to make flowers and set. So they're setting fruit. And hopefully that means they'll make enough fruit to make them worth our time. Because raising seedlings is one thing. Raising them from a set is expensive. Now over here, we are finally getting loads and loads and loads and loads of tomatoes. At least for me. Because I'm not good at this stuff. And they got rim splits on them because they grow. The rain makes them split faster than they can grow. But on the overall, for the most part, all these tomatoes on here have fruit over here. This one's stacked with them. Putting them in a cage made it a little harder on them, unfortunately. And I don't know what to do about that, except that when they fall on the ground, that's even harder yet. So if they can survive the rough handling it took to get them in the cage, I should have put the cage in sooner. And then I need to come back up and fill the bottom up where they're already throwing rootlets in. Because you can see down here, for instance, that they've got rootlets coming on. And that's natural for a tomato. So anywhere that they will grow rootlets, if I can put soil, they'll root in better and they'll get stronger. And my problem child, ironically, is this thing. It was the first one I got. I got it for free. And the lady gave it to me because she said that it had been barked and it didn't look like it was going to do well. Well, it's growing like a weed, but it's not making any fruit. It's got little buds like that all over it, little places, but it's not putting on any fruit. It put one fruit on early on, and after that it just gave up and quit. I expect to get more fruit from this poor little sage, and it's not even a fruiting plant. My strawberries are still alive, but they're not doing super duper yet. Hopefully they will. So that's everything over here. This thing, it's kind of frustrating. This is supposed to be a purple one. Whatever that means in the long run. But it's certainly not flowering and fruiting. It's making a lot of vine, but not making a whole lot of fruit. So that's kind of a bother. Some people say prune them, and I may have to do that. That may make the difference of whether it works or not. We shall see what we shall see. Now, going over here. To our other garden plot. By the way, believe it or not, this tree has one or two little mulberries still on it here and there. Not a lot, and they're hard to find. But like, there's one right there. There's one right there. Not a lot, but it's still got some on it. Most of them get picked off by the birds. I got a couple of them. I even got a couple of them to my mom. She likes mulberries. Of course, we both do. But for the most part, you know, it's been picked pretty clean by the varmints. So it is what it is, and nothing I can do about that. Of course, wading our way through the yellow coneflowers here, getting up to the tree. Some of the apples are looking pretty good. Again, comparing to my hand, they're not going to be real big, and they're all full of wasp eggs and stuff. One of the branches apparently got barked well enough to die. I had to cut it off or something, I don't know. You can see that or it's got fire blight. Either way, it's not doing well. I'll just cut it off or something. And coming into here, all of our squash, well, it almost looks like somebody picked up the squash and pushed them over. Or the wind. They're all leaning. Of course, they could just be leaning towards the sun, too. You never know. Anyhow, so they're in there flowering. They're mostly male flowers still. Not that there aren't any female flowers, because if you look right, let me get down there. Right there, that's one female flower, which will make a fruit at some point. Again, I need to pull them all back and spread them out so they've got room, both for their roots and for their leaves. So that's part of it. And then the Walgreens, the watermelons will end up probably just growing right. I'll just lead them out over this disaster here and let them fend for themselves to some extent. Unless I put something for them to climb on that'll help keep them from having so much trouble with the groundhogs. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But they're growing very happily, virtually like weeds. And so, you know, when you can eat the weeds, they're good, tasty. Keep them. That's my take. They're growing pretty good at the moment. Now, if it gets hot and dry during the summer, I will come out here. Where is it? I'm standing next to it. Here it is. It's almost buried under the I've got a water system down here that I can run a hose up there to it. I keep it closed mostly just so stuff doesn't grow into it and fill in it, make it a mess. But and in the winter it stays disconnected so that it doesn't freeze. But anyhow, so that gives me water to water those things and anything within reach. I still got that 8 outlet digital electric timer to water things with if I ever get it hooked up. But I'll probably end up have more water system than I have now. This thing, unfortunately, I had ordered an ignition coil for this and it proceeded to disappear. They said it was delivered. It was not delivered. It can't be found. So the people at the post office decided they'll just reimburse me my money, which I'll try to do Monday since I got to go out and take care of the poor little baby with the leg infection on her skin infection on her leg, something like that. Anyhow, so that'll, because I need to mow this place enough to keep the weeds under control so I can keep the ticks away from at least my mom, if not myself, because I end up wallowing around in stuff that is never going to get mowed. Of course, getting on to the flower part, as you've already started to see, we've been in a pretty good choice of yellow flowers. The poor little butterfly weeds over here. They tried again. And wouldn't you know it, they tried again. And right there, the deer went and plucked the brand new flower buds right off of them. Just angering as can be. What can I do? Deer sit there and eat the flowers off of them. Short of fencing my whole property off from the deer, I have no idea what I want to do to keep them from wiping out my whole flower display. Of course, there's a big bunch of sunflowers up there on the hill. I don't pay any attention to them. They might as well not exist. I don't know, the birds that seem to eat on them or something. I think the birds are eating some of the seeds. Yeah, oh well, they're not going to get them all, I'm sure. Now, I don't remember what condition the one gladiola was the other week, and I don't know what it's in now. Somewhere in the middle of the week, it got fully bloomed. It does unfortunately look like it finished blooming already, and so sadly it does not look like I can. Where's a squirrel? Of course they eat some of my food too, irritating as that is. See these? This is where the coneflowers here have been bitten off by the deer. All through here. They eat everything except the mint. They just mop them up. Of course the mint they won't touch because it's too potent for them. It's kind of repellent to them. Just means I need more mint. Okay, so yeah, the gladiolas have already come and gone. If I didn't make a picture of it before, I ain't gonna be able to make a picture of it now. Make nice, long, feathery looking leaves when they get to full size. But there's only had basically these few. This didn't even open, I don't think. Flowered all it's gonna flower. They were pretty yellow. This one over here was kind of a, I don't know if you call it a salmon color, a cantaloupe color, but it has decided not to flower again this year. So there it is without any flowers. And that one over there hardly even looks like anything other than a background blade of grass. So it ain't doing nothing. A lot of these flowers over here have already either completely bloomed and they're done, or they just decided to completely not bloom and they're still done. Of course the black-eyed Susans are, you know, they're still going at it. Now if I find out that the animal that has the leg problem is contagious, she'll go in here. If we have to quarantine her, she'll go in here and be in here until we figure out she's healthy or not. At least she'll have something to eat for a minute before she mows it off to the ground. The deer, you notice, have gotten in here just far enough to bite off these down low mulberry, why'd I say mulberry? Oh, my brain went dead. Mimosa sprigs. So while it's dying at the top, it's trying to regrow from the bottom, which seems to be pretty common with this plant. But unfortunately, it's got enough competition without a goat, but when a goat comes, it's going to get really destroyed. It'll get barked and everything. Again, I have a bucket of water in here. I have a lit shelter. I have a cage over there for hay, although it's kind of full of plastic that I need to put somewhere else since I'm not going to use all of that to insulate it. I'll put it away somewhere at some point. Then I'll keep putting hay in there when there's a baby in there, especially if we get the new projected buck that hopefully we'll get sometime this year, maybe. I don't know. To get a buck in there, I need a lot more height though, because a buck will just go right over it like nobody's business, like doink. They won't stop at that. Some does won't stop at that, but a buck absolutely won't stop at that. Poor little critter here, just sitting over here quietly resting away. Got so much I need to do to it. And this thing, again, has opted to not flower. Another year, no more flowers. All the new crepe myrtle bottoms down here are also not flowering. So I don't know. Kind of wish I could cut it off, but that wouldn't help. I mean, I could cut it back, and I probably will this winter maybe. But I don't know that it'll make it bloom any better. Everybody else has already flowered. This one is not. Now, there are a lot of other places I can go on the property, but I'm not going to because A, there'll be services here in a couple hours, And B, there's not that much remarkable to comment about, since really, unfortunately, there's not much change around here. I do want to, real quick, get a vague idea how much rain we got. I forgot to bring a tape measure. I do know there's a ruler in here. Let me just go get a metal ruler. We'll see if we can't figure out how much rain fell. We'll have to subtract 1 3/4 inches from it, because that's how much fell yesterday. I put that in there to rinse out, and it's been rinsing out really well because it's under the awning, so water falls in that and washes the crud out of it. Not a very accurate rain gauge. Hang on. Which of however many rulers can I grab a hold of really quickly? Probably just one. Alright. Again, the rain that's accumulated, we'll have to subtract 1 3/4 inches from it. So it didn't rain that much then after all. Huh. Well, according to that, then it only rained 1/4 inch. Well, that ain't very good. Oh well. Seemed like there was quite a rain blowing, a lot of rain going through. Maybe most of it just was off to one side of us. It is what it is. The stuff that came down yesterday came down so fast it even went so far as to feed into my drainage system over here. Otherwise, this would not have had that much water in it. See how much water it still has in it today if it drained out. And it's soaked out. Okay, yeah, this was standing in 2 or 3 inches of water yesterday. Oh well, it is what it is. Well, I honestly can't think of anything else at the moment other than my goofy scientific experiments where I'm trying to make a lot of iron sulfate over here. Yeah, I'm not going to mess with that today. So that nasty mess is supposed to end up being iron sulfate concentrate for plants. I bought some iron sulfate. I don't know if it's worth it or not. If you do it wrong though, it's really dangerous to the plants. Where it comes in contact with them, it just pretty much on contact pretty near kills the plant. It's so reactive or something. I don't know. Anyhow, for the most part, that's pretty much, again, these mowers, hopefully I'll get on working on them eventually at some point. Make them work. This one doesn't have any seizing, but it's probably got carburetor problems. And that one is crunchy, so it's probably got all kinds of problems. I don't know if it's got a good ignition system, either one of them. I don't know. I got them for free. They were just throwaways, so who knows. But either way, I will eventually maybe fool with them when I get around. I've got so many motors to mess with that I haven't done anything with yet. I got disassembled motors and everything you can think of. Again, I still need to take the stove off of that truck and put it in the house, plumb it up and make it work. Hopefully it's all intact, or that it only takes a small amount of parts and pieces to make it work. We shall see. So that's it for this week, and I hope you all have a blessed, productive, successful, safe, and enjoyable coming week. And shalom to everybody, and hope you have an enjoyable rest of your Sabbath. And may God bless you in everything you do. Bye for now.